Adrian Newey's watchful eye, the Ferrari that captured Formula One's most brilliant mind. The opening round of the 2026 Formula One season at the Australian Grand Prix delivered speed, spectacle, and the unmistakable sense that a new technological arms race had begun. Engines thundered through Melbourne's Albert Park circuit, fans leaned over barriers in anticipation, and mechanics swarmed the grid in a flurry of last-minute adjustments. But amid the chaos and excitement, a quieter, more intriguing moment unfolded. Just minutes before the race began, one of Formula One's most revered engineering minds paused beside a scarlet machine. His gaze was steady, analytical, almost surgical. The man was Adrian Newey, the newly appointed team principal of the Aston Martin F1 team, and the car that had captured his attention was the Ferrari SF26 of Lewis Hamilton. For those who understand the subtle theatre of Formula One's grid, this was no casual glance. When Newey studies a rival car, the entire paddock pays attention. A new era begins in Melbourne. The 2026 season marks one of the most significant technical shifts in recent Formula One history. Radical power unit regulations, aggressive aerodynamic concepts, and sweeping design philosophies have forced every team to rethink its approach. The opening race in Melbourne offered the first real glimpse into this new order. At the front, George Russell led a dominant performance for Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team, securing victory ahead of teammate Kimi Antonelli. The 1-2 finish sent a powerful signal: Mercedes had arrived in the new era prepared, precise, and frighteningly fast. Behind them, the scarlet cars of Scuderia Ferrari fought to keep the silver machines within sight. Charles Leclerc crossed the finish line in third place, 15.5 seconds behind Russell. Hamilton followed in fourth, equaling his best result since his dramatic switch from Mercedes to Ferrari at the start of 2025. While the result was respectable, it also underscored the emerging hierarchy. Mercedes had the early advantage, but Ferrari appeared to be their closest pursuer. And somewhere on the grid before the race began, Newey had been carefully studying why. The silent observer. Newey's reputation precedes him. Over decades, he has built a legacy as the most formidable car designer in Formula One history, crafting championship-winning machines for multiple teams and reshaping aerodynamic thinking across the sport. His presence on the grid is never merely ceremonial. According to reports first highlighted by Fan News 24/7, the 67-year-old engineer spent part of the pre-race build-up walking among rival cars, quietly examining their intricate details. Observers captured him leaning in for a closer look at the Audi R26 driven by Nico Hülkenberg, scrutinizing its surfaces and aerodynamic contours. But it was Hamilton's Ferrari that seemed to command particular interest. Witnesses noted Newey pausing beside the SF26, scanning its bodywork and rear structures with unmistakable intensity. To casual spectators, it may have appeared as nothing more than curiosity. To insiders, it looked like reconnaissance. In Formula One, knowledge is power, and sometimes championships are won by noticing details others overlook. Ferrari's technological gamble. The Ferrari SF26 has already earned a reputation as one of the most intriguing cars of the new regulation era. During winter testing at the Bahrain International Circuit, engineers from across the paddock gathered trackside not only to observe lap times but to decipher Ferrari's daring engineering ideas. One innovation in particular sparked widespread intrigue. Ferrari introduced an exhaust-mounted aerodynamic flap during the second test session in Saka, a subtle but potentially significant addition designed to manipulate airflow in ways competitors had not fully anticipated. Then, just 24 hours later, the Italian team revealed something even more radical: a rotating active aero rear wing. The concept stunned rival engineers. Unlike the traditional drag reduction system, Doctors, used in previous seasons, Ferrari's design involved a rotating mechanism capable of adjusting the wing's orientation dynamically. Theoretically, this could provide a unique balance between drag reduction and aerodynamic stability. But the idea also came with risks. Innovation or complication? The rotating rear wing quickly became a topic of intense debate throughout the paddock. Sources familiar with technical discussions revealed that several rival teams had explored similar ideas while preparing for the 2026 regulations. Yet many ultimately abandoned the concept. Why? Because innovation in Formula One often carries hidden consequences. One concern involves what engineers describe as a sail effect. During the brief moments when the wing rotates open or closed, the airflow can behave unpredictably, potentially creating drag rather than reducing it. Another issue lies in timing. Compared to conventional Doctor's systems, the rotating mechanism takes slightly longer to transition between positions. In a sport where milliseconds determine overtakes, that delay could prove costly. Perhaps for these reasons, Ferrari chose not to deploy the rotating wing during the Australian Grand Prix itself. But the fact that the team developed it at all reveals their willingness to push boundaries, and possibly explains why Newey was so interested. Aston Martin's difficult beginning. While Ferrari's performance suggested promise, Aston Martin's opening race told a very different story. Both Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll failed to finish the race in Melbourne, a frustrating outcome that highlighted the team's early struggles under the new regulations. Yet the disappointment ran deeper than a simple double retirement. Just days before the race weekend, Newey had issued a stark warning about the team's new Honda power unit. According to the Aston Martin chief, severe vibrations generated by the engine could pose a serious risk to drivers' health, potentially causing the permanent nerve damage in their hands if not addressed quickly. It was a shocking statement, one that underscored the intensity of the engineering challenges teams face in Formula One's evolving technological landscape. For Aston Martin, the season had barely begun, yet the obstacles were already mounting. The strategic mind at work. Against this backdrop, Newey's quiet inspection of rival machines becomes even more meaningful. When a team struggles, understanding the strengths of competitors becomes crucial. Every vent, every aerodynamic contour, every unusual component can reveal clues about how rivals have interpreted the rules. And Ferrari's SF26, with its experimental ideas and competitive pace, may hold exactly the sort of insights Newey seeks. In Formula One, the grid walk before a race can resemble a battlefield reconnaissance mission. Engineers scan bodywork for tiny differences, searching for inspiration or weaknesses. Newey has perfected this art. For decades, his ability to interpret rival designs has helped him create cars that redefine performance standards. His curiosity about Ferrari's innovation suggests he recognizes the SF26 as a serious technical threat. The road to China. As the paddock prepares to travel east for the next round at the Chinese Grand Prix, one question hangs in the air: was Newey simply studying a clever piece of engineering, or witnessing the birth of a breakthrough? Ferrari's rotating rear wing remains absent from race conditions, but few believe the concept has been abandoned entirely. In Formula One, ideas often evolve quietly before emerging as decisive advantages later in the season. Meanwhile, Mercedes holds the early momentum, Ferrari lurks as the most immediate challenger, and Aston Martin searches for answers. Yet one thing is certain. When Adrian Newey stops to examine a car, it is rarely a trivial moment. It is the beginning of a deeper investigation, one that could shape the direction of the entire championship. And somewhere within the sleek red curves of the Ferrari SF26, the legendary engineer may already have spotted the next clue in Formula One's relentless technological war.